I'll call the meeting to order. It was properly posted on October 16th. Our prayer and pledge will be led by Brian Jasper, Superintendent, District 1. He's been with Oklahoma County since June of 1999. He's a trustee of Luther Road Baptist Church and married to Tanya, and they have 3 children and 1 grandchild. Brian?
Thank you, Commissioners. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us and for all that you bless us with. Father, we ask that you be with our leaders here today and that you bless them for their serving hearts and bless them with wisdom, courage, and grace as they make the decisions that move this great county forward. Father, we ask that every decision and every action taken here today by our commissioners will be pleasing to you. And most of all, we thank you for loving us and for your saving grace. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 11th?
Move that we approve the minutes unless there's some correction.
Hearing no amendments, I'll second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. 5 through 15 are our consent docket items.
Move the consent docket.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I believe we have a large number of people here today for the item on planning. So with the board's permission, Tyler, would you mind going ahead and skipping to that so we can be respectful to their time?
23.
23.
Good morning. This is a resolution for the Board of County Commissioners to approve a PUD, planned unit development, for an event center, wedding chapel event center in Oklahoma County. This item has protest, and it requires a full 100% yea or nay on this particular project. There may be citizens here that protest. We did receive approximately 44 letters. However, some of those are from the same address. I mean, 44 different addresses, and some of those are from the same household. You might pay attention to that. I do have a map to show you why we consider it significant to pass on to you. And the Planning Commission asks that you approve it.
You want to hear from, who would be proper to hear from first? The property owner and then the complaints?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a beautiful building.
Morning, sir.
My name is Robert Sheets. I am the attorney that represents the property owner. I just want to make a few brief remarks, and I'll turn it over to Jason Spencer, who to talk about the PUD. The protests were all received back, I believe, on August 17th. Technically, they may have been out of time. They may not have been proper, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm going to talk about is when those protests came in, my client set up meetings, had a meeting, one that I was in attendance, and it was on September the 5th. There was about 15 or 20 people there. We had a long discussion. In fact, the meeting lasted about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. What was discussed was the protesters' problems. We came up with solutions to many of them, and that's why we changed part of the PUD. And I just want to let you know that even though there were protests, my client did acknowledge it, had meetings with them, listened to their concerns, and made significant changes in the PUD to restrict their use of the property, which I would like to point out would not be a restriction if they weren't seeking the PUD. Most of what they're doing is permitted under the present zoning, but since they want to charge for weddings and events, they need to have the PUD. But without that, they could still do virtually everything that they're trying to do under the zoning. So I just want to let you know that my client did address these and is concerned, making sure that he's a good neighbor. So
All right. Others?
Good morning.
Morning.
Jason Spencer with Craft and Toll, 300 Point Parkway Boulevard, Yukon. So to sum up the application, it's approximately 40 acres at southwest corner of Coffee Creek and May. The concept of this PUD is to allow for a rural-themed wedding and events venue to be operated on the existing family farm. On the property is a replica of a 400-year-old German stone barn in Bavaria, and you can see that on the current slide. Typical events include weddings, holiday office parties, birthday parties, reunions, and organization dinners and picnics. We've limited the PUD to only the uses allowed in the agricultural rural residential district and the wedding and events venue. Just give you a brief history, and Mr. Sheets touched on a little bit of that. We've worked very hard to address the concerns of the neighbors and Planning Commission. They conducted 2 meetings on the subject property. Unfortunately, there was a heavy rain on the first meeting, so none of the neighbors showed up, but they did send out invitations to the neighbors for the second meeting, and that was held on September 5th, and that's the meeting Mr. Sheets referenced. We had approximately 15 neighbors in attendance, and it included neighbors from Summit Lake Estates, Mission Springs, and Fossil Creek additions. So we thought we had a good turnout there, and we felt it was a very productive meeting. We discussed their concerns and also developed additional restrictions in the PUD. Upon completion of the meeting, we felt that a majority of the neighbors, excluding a couple, were happy with the additional restrictions. So we revised the PUD. That went to Planning Commission on September 21st. At this meeting, we agreed to some additional restrictions based on dialogue with planning commissioners and the neighbors. And we're happy to say the application was recommended for approval by Planning Commission. And I'll touch briefly on some of the revisions and restrictions that were placed on the PUD. We've limited the maximum capacity to 300 maximum. If they want any more than that, they'll have to come back and rezone it again. We've added sign restrictions. We changed our hours of operation from the initial PUD. So that's 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. with music turned off by 10 from Sunday through Thursday, and Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to midnight with music off by 11. Let's see, actually. We placed a large number of restrictions on fireworks as well. So they're limited to only Saturdays, New Year's Eve, and 4th of July. They're prohibited after 10:30. And with the duration not to exceed 5 minutes and limited to 30 days per year. So we've placed quite a few restrictions on those. Other restrictions include site lighting restrictions, restrictions on outdoor music and bands, alcohol service, and we agreed to comply with Article 5, Section 9 of the county's zoning regulations, which deals with the noise, their noise ordinance. And any changes that are made to that in the future will comply with those changes as well. And to sum up, we've worked hard to address the neighbors' concerns and address Planning Commission's concerns, and we think that we've got a PUD that does that. We do have a large number of restrictions on this PUD. When you compare it to some of the other wedding events venues in the area, we've got a large amount more restrictions than what they have. That would include, there's the Manor at Coffee Creek. It's about a mile away at Coffee Creek in Portland. Barn at the Woods, Northwest 178th and Meridian. It's about 3 miles away. And Clarn Ridge Vineyard is Waterloo and May. It's about 2 miles away. So, as I said, we've worked very hard to address their concerns. Planning Commission recommend approval, and we would ask for your approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I have one question, Mr. Spencer. I saw on your slide that there was no outside amplified music except for processionals and recessionals.
So during the ceremony, that's what we've asked that there be allowed one song for the bride to come out to and then for the bride to go back in. So it wouldn't be a band at the reception or anything music following. We'd added that in trying to clarify that, talked it over with staff, and they felt that it was in compliance with what was discussed at Planning Commission.
Okay, so that's not what the Planning Commission approved. You've added that to the
that statement, yes.
PUD after the Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Correct.
Yeah, I didn't remember any outside amplified music because I know that was one of the big concerns of the neighborhood. So.
Well, and I know we did talk about the need for an officiant with a microphone out there. We felt that their concern was for the reception area, the reception time later on in the evening, the majority of the event with outdoor music, i.e. a DJ or band.
Yeah, and then we still have the provision that the speakers are all pointed away from the neighborhood, correct?
So, and I'll have to see if that's still in there. If it's not, we can add that in.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be in there.
Okay.
We don't want to amplify anything toward the neighborhood.
How many residents are there close to your place?
Summit Lake Estates has, I think, approximately 130 lots over there. I don't think they're all built on, but that's to the east. You can see it on this map, to the east there. A large majority of them are separated by, the pond and the creek that come through there. You've got a few that are closer to that have access onto May.
When you discussed this with those that gathered at your 15 or so that came, was all of this options, or all these options discussed, like the bridal march and all that?
We talked, at that time, we talked mostly about just limiting times for the outdoor amplified music. At Planning Commission, it was discussed more and agreed to basically do away with the amplified bands and music for the, and our field was for the reception.
Okay. No further questions of him. Are there citizens here to speak? Any of the adjacent property owners, homeowners? Seeing none?
Move to approve. Oh, that's not my district.
That's all right.
Pardon me, Mr.
You go right ahead.
Mr. King.
I'll second your,
All right.
I'll second your motion.
Sorry, I was taking over.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Just be sure and invite me to one of them weddings.
Thank everyone for their time.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to find my place here.
16.
District 1.
Come on, Joe.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have a quick presentation from Antonia Jennings. She's the president of the Crutcho Community Foundation. Many of you are aware where Crutcho School is located there at 23rd and Air Depot. She informed me the other day that Crutcho had passed a bond and they purchased new property to build a school. They've done a little commercial, and I'll let Antonio take it from there.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
As you are now just finding out, Crutcho is planning on building a new school. We've purchased the land there at 10th and Air Depot. We currently are in ownership of 8 acres of the land there. And we have a contract pending to close in less than 90 days on another acre to give us 9 acres to build on, and possible acquisition of the last piece for 10, but we have 9 acres buildable there. As you may be aware, we have a small district, which limits our bonding capacity. And so what we've have to do is raise the money to build the school. We have determined the design that we like, called the pod design. And the model that we have decided that we like is the one that they've built in Norman called Reagan School. That's the design that we're looking for. And one of our marketing strategies that we've come up with through the Crutcho Community Foundation, that's a nonprofit that we've created, is what we wanted to share with you today. As I said, we have the desire to build a school, but we have to raise the money first. So we just wanted you all to be aware of what's going on in your county, and that's why we're making the presentation today.
Thank you very much. Questions?
Are we going to see a presentation?
We're going to see the presentation, but I thank you so much. I can tell you that she has kept me abreast of everything they've been doing over the almost 10 years, really, and I appreciate that. It's hard to find citizens to step in and do things that many times elected officials are asked to do. So I appreciate you very much. I can say that publicly. Who's going to show the video? Where are these IT people in the, Lord have mercy?
Let me ask you while we're figuring that out.
Can somebody find us somebody to turn on the video, please?
How many students are there in the district?
We have a little less than 400.
Okay.
And we're planning on building a school that will house about 600 in our district.
And the students, you currently have schools that the students attend, is that correct?
Yes, our school is at 23rd and Air Depot. Our school's over 100 years old. It's we've actually been in existence since before the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay. And so you're going to build right there at that location?
No, that's on a floodway.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to build on the floodway unless we build 7 feet up. And so we've purchased the land that's at 23rd, at 10th and Air Depot. It's behind the new 7-Eleven, which is not in a floodway.
Okay.
And here's our video. And I'm thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I am D. Miles, chairman of the Crutcho Community Foundation. These students attend Crutcho School, and their school needs our help. If you are able, please consider trusting us with a $5 donation and sharing this message on one of your social media platforms. Crutcho School is more than 100 years old, and it sits in a floodway. During the last major flood, more than 25,000 gallons of water had to be pumped out of the school, and the kids that lived across the street had to be evacuated by boats. If you Google Crutcho sinkhole, you will also see that this school has had to endure a massive sinkhole that occurred just 20 feet away from the playground. School leadership has done all that they can to take exceptional care of Crutcho. However, instead of waiting to see if the next flood or sinkhole claims lives, Crutcho is building a new school. Our goal is to have 10 million people trust us with a $5 donation and a social media share. If you are able, text LIFT to 50155. Again, that's LIFT, LIFT to 50155, and help us lift this school out of a floodway.
Very well done.
That's good.
Very well done. But that's the kind of work she does. Come on back up. You want to talk some more?
No, I really don't. The reason we did the commercial is because we don't want to have to talk a lot. We want the commercial to talk for us. So I think it says everything, gets our message out there.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to being able to share it with 300 million people. And I think we'll reach whatever our goal needs to be.
Believe me, with you out there, you're going to reach it.
Good day.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Is there a motion to receive the presentation?
Absolutely.
Second.
And there was a distinguished dignitary in there, baby rescuing too, we noticed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 17.
Stacy, you want to talk to this for me?
Yeah, it's on the same subject of Crutcho. This is the neighborhood. We're in our new phase of buyout,
Yeah.
Another FEMA round. This is a first project that's come to you, offered to sell. It's a very unique house. It's a dome house, and it's about 3,500 plus square feet out there. It's 2 to 3 times the size of all the other houses you've dealt with. So it's a little more expensive than what you're used to seeing, but per square foot, it's within line with the appraisals we've done before. So we'd recommend approval of this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 18?
Item 19. Julie.
18.
18, thank you. Joe.
Good morning, Commissioners. You'll recall several months ago, we did an RFQ or RFP for chip seal projects in District 1. This item relates to those projects. Vance Brothers was awarded the contract, performed the work.
We're on 18.
To put
You're on
Butch
19.
on the TIF district.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm ready,
We'll get
ready
them.
to get to the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Item 18 comes from the City of Del City. It's a request to have a county appointee to a TIF district that they've created. There's an area there at I-40 and Scott Road to the south where an old apartment complex was located that they are attempting to redevelop and actually have begun. They formed a TIF there, and they would like a representative from Oklahoma County. Traditionally, Butch has served in that role, and he would do so again if you all approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now 19.
Okay. Item 19, again, this item deals with workmanship on several chip seal projects that were performed in District 1. Shortly after the project was completed, our superintendent noticed issues with the product. We have informed them that we are dissatisfied, and we would like, with this item, to appoint the DA's office and Stacy, along with input from our superintendent, to negotiate a settlement. Of course, you always have the option of pulling their bond. They have not been paid yet, and we will withhold payment as long as we can. So that is this item. Stacy can talk in the more technical.
I think the pictures up there may speak for themselves. You've got some significant stripping occurring, and that's just not an isolated case. It's in many locations throughout many roads, so it's a very consistent problem. It's definitely a workmanship problem. Brian Jasper, your superintendent, did a very good job of documenting the locations and taking the pictures. And this happened so quickly after the project was completed that it's only going to get worse. That's my biggest concern. So the purchasing department sent a cure notice. They responded back. So we're kind of at a standstill, and we need some sort of dispute resolution procedure going forward.
Thank you, Stacy and Joe, as well. This is one of the things that I've been talking about ever since I've been here. You know, lowest is not always best, and sometimes we have to kind of think real carefully about selections to do our work here, because we don't want to pay for it twice. And in some instances, we have to pay for it twice, and this may be one of those. I don't think that's good use of taxpayers' money to clean up after people who do shoddy jobs. And with that, I move approval of the resolution. That's not what it is. I have to appoint the district attorney's office and the engineering office. Okay, I got off on a tangent. But anyway, we want to approve them to bird dog this thing for us, and that's what I want to.
Yeah, and I will second that motion. I would say that I'm a little surprised because Vance Brothers is usually a very reputable provider. But you can see this white area, just for those of us that I had to ask, that's the previous pavement that had been covered with the chip seal job. And it's a week later, and it's already showing through. The chip seal has actually come off of the previous pavement, and you see the old pavement underneath, which should not be happening. So it could be a bad, who knows, a bad emulsion or whatever. But hopefully they'll see that that's not an expectation, from the end user here, and needs to be remediated.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Thank you.
Very much. I agree with you, and I'm not putting down Vance, but obviously they've got some folks on their staffs who are not paying attention like they do in District 1, and they just don't do the job right for their employer, and so he needs to make some decisions about who he's going to keep on his staff, it seems to me. But I'll let you legal and engineering folks work that out, but that's something that you certainly need to pay attention to. Move the item.
And he seconded, and so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, District 2 has a request from the Department of Air Force about declaring a portion of the section line statutory right-of-way of Midwest Boulevard north of Southeast 74th Street abandoned. Stacy, do you want to add anything
The north half of that road, the north half mile has already been abandoned and is on the base itself. This is the south half down to 74th Street. The land is either owned by the Oklahoma City Water Utility Trust or Tinker Air Force Base. So we've gone through all the proper notices, and this is the public hearing if there's anybody in the audience that wants to speak to it. But the staff would recommend you approve the item.
Anybody here to speak to this item?
Move we approve it.
And I will second, but I would like to ask a question. Stacy, I gather that if it's abandoned, then it becomes basically the ownership of the Air Force. And
Yes.
they will continue to maintain I mean, they're not going to close that entrance to the old GM plant, are they?
Well, they'll certainly make it secure.
Yeah.
And
But you'll
I don't
still
know.
be able to access. I mean, that's the only way I know really to access the new aerospace plant at this point. And my question is it will remain open for access to that facility?
Well, they didn't say
Doesn't
that,
have to.
but it would definitely become a private road on their private property, and it's for base security.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
District 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got one item, and this is basically to receive quitclaim deeds from the owners of a portion of the property that will become our new roundabout out at 178th and Meridian. It's taken a while to get all these together. There are 16 owners of this one parcel, and so that took a great deal of work to get that put together, and I appreciate the hard work that went into that. I would move approval of item 21 and be happy to answer any questions.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 22, does Dan or Mr. Hooten want to speak to this? You're wanting to defer or strike?
We're working towards an agreement, but we ask for convenience just to strike the issue, and then we'll bring it out when we get it all hammered out.
Very good.
Move we strike.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We've already done 23. Steve, you want to talk about policy and governance?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Several weeks ago, Court Services received funding for 2 additional positions. These positions were for expediting the pretrial release of people over in the county jail, and their results so far have been outstanding. Later on, I'm going to have Grant come up here and give you an update. Anyway, one of those 2 positions was filled, and at this point in time, we don't think the activity would warrant filling the second position. However, that could change, within weeks, but we just wanted to come before the board and say we did receive funding for 2. We have filled 1, and we would like to be able to fill the second whenever the need arises. But the results has been outstanding. I think Grant will share with us, some of the hard numbers, but it's worked out very well. And I'd also like to just say that the sheriff's staff has also helped extremely in this matter. We've seen some very positive results. Is there any questions?
Grant?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
As you know, the changes that have taken place have stemmed from the Vera Group and their recommendations on how to streamline and make this process better for the criminal justice system here in Oklahoma County. The first thing we've done is we're staffed now in the jail 365 days out of the year. So we have staffing in the jail Monday through Friday, regular business hours, Thursday through Sunday, overnight, and through the morning during those very busy hours. With that, we have access to Judge Trong and Judge McCrae, who have been tremendous for us. It's allowed us to get our paperwork to those judges immediately and get a signature immediately. So the difference went from, getting that paperwork to a judge and possibly sitting there for several days, weeks, even months, to now those signatures being given instantaneously. So it's expedited the process and given us an opportunity to get those folks out the lower level offenders in a timely manner. Quick numbers for you. Since starting the process, August saw 274 pretrial releases, September 234. So 508 pretrial releases in 2 months. That's almost half of what we would do for an entire year. So the process is working, and it's lowered the jail population. As of yesterday morning, 1,868 total county inmates, 1,746. This morning I talked to Mr. Scuda. He has 1,849 total for the county jail. Furthermore, I did speak with the sheriff this morning too, and a very positive note on that too is as the jail population continues to go down, he's able to move some of those inmates to different areas to allow them an opportunity to do maintenance that's been years that they haven't been able to do to update things and get things going to where they need to be. Any questions on anything so far?
I'd like to say it's a very positive report and something we've been working toward trying to reach, for years. And so I think this has been a good experience with the Vera folks and with the judiciary and a number of the players that have gotten together and made this happen. And I want to also commend the sheriff since he's here and all of his staff that's here, because they've done great work, been very cooperative with you and with others I know to make this happen. So this is a very positive thing for the county. It's saving us money, saving us a lot of money.
Thank you for your work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is there a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now the sheriff. You want to speak to your canine item?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll be brief this morning. I'm excited about this. Bryce Johnson, his law firm of Johnson and Biscone, has stepped up to the plate and offered to donate $15,000 to purchase a drug dog and contraband dog, not a bite dog. I mean, that's one of our things we're making sure of, but and it will go to work as soon as we can make the purchase and the training and all of that's done. We'll have a deputy and a drug and contraband dog working in the Oklahoma County Jail, and it'll be a huge plus to make it a safer place for our employees as well as the inmates. And I applaud this law firm for doing that and stepping up. They wanted to do it themselves and be the sole donator to put this dog to work in our jail, and I'd certainly ask you all to approve this. Thank you.
One of your cousins?
Yeah. I just appreciate you so much. I see a significant difference, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you're doing. It seems like things are working for you, and I haven't formally congratulated you. Congratulations, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you.
And I move we approve this item.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the claims?
Move we approve the claims.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No change to the blanket?
Move the blankets.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank
citizens to be heard? Any commissioner comments, District 1?
Oh, my goodness, yes, I've got so many comments. I just came back from one of the most fabulous vacations I've ever been on, and I've been a lot of places over the world. So this particular trip was a bus trip, if you can believe it, across the country. And our final destination, although we made several stops and attended many, many museums along the way and along the way back, our primary reason for going was to see the new African American History and Culture Center. You owe it to yourselves to just see that. It is just awesome. I had a lot of fun, and I got a lot of rest when I got home. So, and also, I want to thank the sheriff and his staff and other county people, including the commissioner over here, Mr. Vaughn. for participating in our first tee golf tournament yesterday. We raised quite a little bit of money, thank heavens, for our children. And the coup de grace was that Reggie, help me, where's Graw, Randy Graw? Is he here?
He's,
What's his little boy's name?
he was here, Reagan.
Reagan, that's what, thank you, that will work. Reagan is a 7-year-old first tee participant, and he played 18 holes yesterday and did a good job. So, you know, our dreams are coming through because we're seeing our works through our children. And those of you who did participate, thank you ever so much. For those of you who didn't participate, Stacy is standing by. He will take donations to help us continue this program for our children. And that's all. Thank you.
District 3.
Well, I'll just add to that. I was pleased to participate. It was a beautiful day, which made it nice. But I put the old new knee to the test yesterday, and it performed beautifully.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that for my golf game, but I was teamed up with an individual by the name of Joe Clytus, and he kept us all in stitches the whole time. And he's just a very funny fellow. And there's something starting, seems to me, tomorrow night. There's going to be maybe something here in town
Yes, sir.
that we're going to try to take in. So I look forward to that as well.
Well, you can say it. I'll wait. I'll wait till it's over.
There's an entire section in the paper this morning devoted to it. I think it's a tremendous piece in the paper. But yeah, our basketball season starts, and it's going to be great.
All right, any new business? If not, Amber, we'll open the bids.
Morning.
We have one bid this morning. It's CW 18014 for emergency vehicle equipment countywide. Defender Supply. Lettering Express. Stoles Telecom LLC. And Turnkey Mobile. And that concludes the bids.
Move that.
Second the review of the bids and recommendations.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I believe we're asked to defer our executive session. You just want it deferred for 1 week. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So there's
Aye.
no action on item 33. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Being past 9:10, I'll call the PBA together. It was properly posted on October 16th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 11th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There's one lease agreement with Chad Moody.
I will move the lease agreement with Chad Moody.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Is there received a report of the fees for September?
Move the report.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We have some cash fund appropriations. You want to take them as a
Yes.
whole?
Yes, items 6 through 10 are cash fund appropriations for PBA Lincoln, PBA Investors Capital Building, PBA Kraus, and PBA Debt Service. And also 10 is to receive, well, it's cash fund appropriations for the reserve account, I'm sorry. I move items 6 through 10.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 11?
Item 11 is a discussion of estimate of revenues and expenditures for the next fiscal year. I don't know if Keith wants to come up and address that. Good morning, Keith. Good morning.
Keith was with him.
Played so poorly yesterday. This is actually a preparation and estimate of needs that was presented prior to the fiscal year for this upcoming 17-18 year. It estimates the projected revenues by source, Lincoln Property, Metro Parking, Investors Capital, and Kraus. the estimated expenditures by category, projected operating income, lists the PBA debt service for the year, and then the projected net revenue that the PBA is expected to generate this next fiscal year.
Very positive, thank you.
Questions? If not, is there a motion to receive?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the claims?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens to be heard before the PBA? Mr. Graw.
Where you been?
Thank you, Randy Graw, District 3. Sorry I had to step out at the end of the commissioners' meeting. I just wanted to commend Commissioner Johnson and her staff for putting on such a great first tee tournament. That was the first 18 holes that Reagan had ever played. He's played, I think, about 7 or maybe 9 at a time. He had more energy at the end of it than any of us in the group. And he's ready to join the tour. He thought he was a little bit of a celebrity, and but the First Tee program does amazing things, and so we appreciate all that you do, and it serves so many youth all throughout the Oklahoma City metro area. So thank you for letting us participate, and it looks like it was a very productive fundraising event, and it certainly was a lot of fun. And the Commissioner, Vaughn, and I haven't had a chance to compare scores yet, but I had Stacy Trumbo on my team, so I'm sure we absolutely devastated him. So, which is why I was there in the first place. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We actually kept an actual account of our strokes. So, yeah.
Any new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.